Okay, Baruchim Habayim B'Shem Hashem. So we are in Sefer Mishlei. Last week we actually started, up to last week it was the introduction. So in Pasuk Zayin, tonight's Pasuk is Pasuk Chet. But in Pasuk Zayin, Shlomo Melech told us, Reshit Chochma Yirat Hashem. Reshit Chochma Yirat Hashem, that, what the content of this book, what makes it unique, it's not some human beings, thinking and, human stuff. This comes Yirat Hashem. It really comes from divine. And we spoke about this at length, that anything that it's, any kinds of thoughts and novelties that the source is from human beings, right? It's not eternal. It's something. It's temporary. It's going to change, right? We spoke at length. My Rosh Hashiva's example he always used to talk about abortion and about settling disputes in the dual form, that it would go in the center of the city. In the Wild West. In New York you didn't have this, but here our ancestors are not our ancestors. in California, that it was totally legal that if two people had disputes, they would go to the center of the city, as we used to enjoy all these the movies, and whoever would pull out the gun first, he was right. That was the law of the land. Now this is considered murder, right? I was just listening on the news. I hope there's going to be riots here, downtown. So now it's not about who's going to. It doesn't make you right if you're the first one to pull your gun. That was one. You see that anything that it's any norms that are formulated, created by human beings, they change with the time, right? And he would say also, like the Nazis came to power in a democratic way. They were elected democratically, and then it became a dictatorship. The majority of people voted. Even now, what makes something right? What if the Supreme Court decides same-sex marriages, that makes it right? It's human beings deciding. They could decide one day like this, tomorrow they're going to change their mind, right? But here, what makes us unique is that Reshit Chochma, Yirat Hashem, Yirat Hashem is Reshit Chochma. That our thing is that the Yirat Hashem, fearing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is the source. What we have, it's divine. It's human beings, right, cannot really create, right, Even we are not talking about the laws that are between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's between human beings, right? The proper things cannot. Who says the majority is right? Who says the majority? Is it really? Does it make sense that an uneducated? It doesn't have to be. I don't want to say homeless. An uneducated person would have the same say in making decisions than somebody some professor in college, etc., and what kind of human being, what kind of value system they have. So this is essential that Shlomo Melech starts his book with, right, Yirat Hashem, Reshit Da'at, Chochma Musar V'Limbos. Any kind of, he says, right, science that you want to go into it, the basic has to be Emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Emunah in Hashem, and he says, the pasuk that we have tonight, Shema beni musar avicha va'al titosh torat yimecha. Shlomo Melech says, Shema beni, we are going to dwell on every word here very heavily. Shema beni musar avicha, my son, listen to follow the disciplines of your father, and do not altitosh, and do not neglect your mother's teachings. Torah is teachings. We have to dwell really on every word. But you see, as the Gaon says very clearly, that the pasuk before spoke about Yirat Hashem, and now we are talking about father and mother. And the Gemara in Masachet Nida tells us that there are three partners, right? There are three partners in making of a human being, right? We have the parents, the father and mother, which give the body. Right, the body of a person is made. It's made from the parents. The Gemara says, I think the white stuff comes from the father, and the red stuff comes from the mother. Right. So the the egg and the sperm, right? They are made by the parents, the father and mother, and then when you have all those 36 trillion cells in a person's body, right? I think I spoke about this in my radio program last week. The 36 trillion cells in the body of a person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blows the neshama in it. The neshama, we know, comes from Hashem. Hashem gives the neshama. Right? So the parents give the body, and then when HaKadosh Baruch Hu blows the neshama in that fetus, and we believe that, the lowest part of the neshama is already the fetus has it. A fetus, a few weeks old fetus, has, after that, that body is formed a little bit, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu blows the neshama. Nefesh, which is the lowest part of the neshama, right? It's already, the fetus has it. Right? Neshama having, three major parts. Nefesh is already in that fetus, and then we believe on the day of, in some stations in our lives, something happens that you cannot see. Right? One is on the day of bar mitzvah, or bat mitzvah for a girl. On that day, the neshama gets a second part, gets the ruach. On the day of bar mitzvah, or bat mitzvah for girls get it a year earlier than boys. So nefesh is already in the mother's womb, and the Mekubalim tell you that that this nefesh already helps direct and program those cells, those 36. I can't get over this. 36, not million, not billion, trillion cells that are totally identical in the mother's fetus. When the nefesh comes into it, it's decided, it's programmed that which one of these cells it's going to become our skull, which going to become the hair, our eyebrows, our eyes. Right? Science doesn't have an explanation for this. What makes different these identical cells, right, develop into such an orderly manner, right, where it's going to be the nails, the fingers, everything is from those identical cells. So this is nefesh. Ruach, it's on the day of bar or bat mitzvah, in the gil of mitzvah, boys and girls a year apart. So then the neshama of a person gets a second part, which is the ruach, and then on the 20th birthday, a person gets, his neshama becomes complete, so to speak.
Is it the same with goyim?
We believe that the goyim also have, the Ramchal says that the goyim have a neshama. It's not the same type of neshama. They also have neshama, right? The non-Jews also definitely have a neshama, but it's different. The neshama for Israel, it's totally different than the neshama for non-Jew. But they do. We believe that that the righteous among the nations, right? They get Olam Haba. We don't claim the Olam Haba to be exclusively ours. They don't believe in it. I don't think Muslims and Christians believe, that we have Olam Haba. They say they want to save our souls. The Mormons go like even the dead Jews. They want to convert the dead Jews, that they should get salvation. But Judaism doesn't believe in that. We believe that the righteous, if the non-Jews, by them it's keep the 7, go to heaven. They have much easier life. I mean, obviously they don't get the same Olam Haba that we get, but they make it. We believe that they also get Olam Haba. By them is keep the 7, go to heaven. Keep 7 in the 7 mitzvot. By us, it's Taryag mitzvot. Right. So these are the components. We have the parents. Now, another thing that happens, transformation that we don't realize, it's under the chuppah. That under the chuppah also, there is another completion of the neshama, right? Some say that by 20, not everybody gets the neshama. It's like, when he gets married, it's really sealed off under the chuppah. Because under the chuppah, right, you see, that's one of the reasons why we use a ring, because a halo from the neshama of the man goes around the neshama of the woman and vice versa. That's really the Jewish source for using a ring for a wedding. Because really, according to the Torah, then it's Kabbalah. According to Torah law, all what it takes is if the man gives a gift to the woman in front of two witnesses and he says, "Would you marry me?" And she accepts the gift, they're husband and wife. This could be a flower. He gives her a flower. It has to have a minimum, Oh yeah, I thought it said shucks. Right? So that's all it takes, right? A flower, she gives her a flower. It has to be a minimum, shaveh pruta. He gives her that, checks. Or the Gemara says, he could give her a nice date. Not going out date, a date, eating edible date. And she accepts it, there could be husband and wife. Yes. That's right. When I tell the Chatanim it's too late already, they have the Biltmore and they have this hotel and that hotel. They could do it right. We have done a lot of chuppot here also. It's always 10 people, cup of wine, in a ring. It doesn't have to be a ring. It really could be, as we said. How did it evolve into a ring? I don't know by the non-Jews where does it come from. But by us, it's very clear that, back in Iran, they didn't used to use a ring. They used to give something like silver coins. Silver coins. That was it. He would give I did with my wife. I give a ring, gold ring, and also some silver coins. Right. I wanted to keep our tonight. We're going to see it's so important to keep our minhagim.
Nowadays we want to make sure they go all the way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Ring, infinity ring.
Suffering. Right.
There's no return.
That's right. Right. So Shlomo Melech is telling us, so these are the three partners. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the neshama, and the parents give the guf. That's why, you see, there is a sequence here. First it says, Yirat Hashem Reshit Da'at. First HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the neshama, and then come the parents. Shema beni musar avicha v'al titosh Torah imecha. These are the three components in our being, and that's why you see, that's one of the reasons why on the right side of the tablets, the 10 Commandments, you have respecting your parents, right? Because it's really according to the division that one side is ben adam lachavero, one side is ben adam lamakom. It's really kibud avayim. It's ben adam lachavero. It's between human beings. It should have been on the left side. Why is it on the right side? It's very telling. The reason is because the parents are partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The same side that says Anochi Hashem Elokecha, then it says Kaved Avicha V'Imecha. Because these are the parents, are the two partners with Hashem that make us. Also, if you want to, and I know Rav Hirsch says that it puts a very, very big responsibility on parents and on parenting. Rav Hirsch says that the concept that kids have of Hashem goes back to their parents. If the parents are loving, supporting, and they just discipline also, right? Basically, but they're loving parents. A kid is going to grow up thinking HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a loving God. But if the parents are, tough, and just it's like a dictatorship, and that's I tell you, and there is no show of love, they're going to think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem is the same thing. It's really whenever I think about it, I shiver, right? But now I see I'm an age that You see, I don't know, when your kids, you grow up, like my son called my grandson my name. I was shocked. Why would, But you see, it was a kind of endorsement. It was a kind of appreciating. It's not just kavod, right? It's because it's a very big responsibility. Parenting, it's the probably most difficult responsibility that we have in our lives, and we are to them. It's like Hashem, right? And that's another reason why in the luchot, right, honoring the parents, quote unquote, is on the wrong side. It's on the right side. Right? That's where it belongs. And one of the reasons is because there are three partners, as the Gaon explains, shlosha shutafim ba'adam, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Aviv ve'imom. And since, that main partner, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, you cannot see him, right? We have the most intensive relationship that we have is with Hashem. With the main component that cannot be seen is Ne'elam. And it makes it very difficult. And that's why you have so many people that don't believe, right? But I think I told you the other week I was talking to a couple, and she was complaining that the husband doesn't talk to her at all. They don't talk to each other. So I told him, this is somebody that comes to shul every day. I said, look, you came to this world, right, to create relationships. Obviously, the most meaningful is the relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's why every day I see you. You daven 2 hours, you're talking to Hashem. Right? But what about your wife? You don't have any time to talk. If you don't talk, you don't have a relationship. If you don't talk, if you don't communicate, there's no relationship. So I hope he got the musar, right? But these are the three partners. And it's now, it says Shema. Shema beni musar v'cha. What does Shema mean? Rabbeinu Bachai teaches us that Shema in Hebrew has 3 meanings. One is hearing, to hear, Shema. One is understanding. It's lahavin, it's to understand. And thirdly is obeying. It has all 3 meanings. The same thing when we say Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael has 3 meanings. One is really to hear. The halacha is that when you say Shema, your ears should hear what you say, right? Secondly is understanding, internalizing, and obeying, right? That you have to, just Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad. Why, that we have to obey. That if we do understand Hashem's authority, oneness, etc., it means, next thing is that we need to lishmoa, it's also to obey. And here it's the same thing. Shema beni musar avicha, it's hearing, understanding, and obeying. Right? So, by the way, when we're talking about this centrality of the role of the parents, that explains why the Torah has a very, very severe punishment for Ben Sorer Umoreh. Ben Sorer Umoreh, it's a kid that is off derech. Ben Sorer Umoreh, it's a kid that is off, and he does not listen to his parents. The Torah prescribes for this capital punishment for Ben Sorer Umoreh. Like other capital punishments in the Torah, it was really never exercised, right? Because it has so many, prerequisites. It's like we have attorneys here. Like in Torah law, we do have capital punishment, but it was never actually nobody was executed because there are so many requirements and prerequisites that it was almost impossible. It's just basically, right, like my Rosh Hashanah used to say, when the Torah says, for it's a gay relationship, the Torah says capital punishment. Was it ever exercised? Never. I don't know if, even after at the time that we had Beit Din, that they really put somebody, right, they would stone somebody for that. Because there are so many prerequisites that it makes it almost impossible for that to happen. Right? Yeah.
Sorry, so if there's these many prerequisites and it never gets exercised, why even have it?
Hashem wants to teach us a certain behavior, how condemned it is in the eyes of God. The severity of it, that's it. When Hashem says, for Shabbat is also, the Torah has the severe punishment. Shabbat, it's like gay relationship. Both of them, it's skila. Nobody was, there was one person that the Torah says, maybe, and they say he's the only one that was put to death for desecrating Shabbat in the Midbar. So why have it? It was Hashem wants to tell us Shabbat. It's it's the most vital organ that we have, right? Shabbat. It's the same way like in the Maharal explains. If you look in our bodies, all the important organs have protection. Look at the eyes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has created the skull and all the protections for the eye, the brain, heart, right? These are why you have all these, because these are vital organs. They need to be protected. That's Shabbat. It's a vital organ. If there's no Shabbat, there's no Judaism. That's why Hashem says capital punishment. Not that it was ever, right, except that one case, that it was ever exercised. But it shows us the importance. It shows us in the eyes of God how important this, in Torah law, also if somebody would curse his parents, it's capital punishment. Right? If somebody would hit his parents, it's capital punishment. Right? Would it be ever exercised? No, Hashem wants to tell you these are the importance. If some kind of sin offense has just lashes or something, that's much lighter, right? But if these capital punishments, that was the Gemara says, if the Sanhedrin, the Jewish court, high court, would put somebody to death once in 70 years, they would say they were murderers. And I think that's one of the reasons that in Israel also, they don't have capital punishment. Right? Which I personally think when it comes to terrorists, it's a big mistake, but let's not get on. But these Jews are rahmanim. Jews have compassion. Anyway, Shema beni musar avicha va'al. Shema beni, Shema has three. So this is, I was saying that, when the Torah is so makpid and you have capital punishment for ben soraru more, because it's a kid that doesn't listen to his parents. Because as we said, the parents are such integral partners. They are like, almost equal to Hashem. In Anochi you have Anochi Hashem Elokecha, and then you have Kibud Avayim. So, now, as I said, since we cannot see Hashem, really, Hashem's proxies are the parents. And since, right, the Torah tells us we are born with a strong Yetzer Hara, a person does not have Yetzer HaTov till Bar Mitzvah. You know that. On the day when a person, till the day of Bar Mitzvah, we are all Yetzer Hara. Even the good things that we do, that's why it says always should give bribe to the kids. Give them candy, give them this, give them that.
Sorry.
Yeah, please. Not at all, please.
My lack of knowledge, but can you translate those words?
Yetzer Hara is evil inclination. We believe that a person is born with an evil inclination. And he gets the opposite. What's the opposite of evil inclination? The positive one, whatever. Yetzer Tov. He gets it on Bar Mitzvah. Before Bar Mitzvah, which we said Kabbalistically, on the day of Bar Mitzvah or Bat Mitzvah, we get the next level of our neshama, nefesh, we said in the fetus, ruach on the day of Bar Mitzvah, and then 20, it's neshama of neshama. So basically, Yetzer Hara, you see, we are like, it's a home game for evil inclination. We are born with Yetzer Hara, and the main component in our being, which is Hashem, is not seen. You cannot see his intervention, so who is left? His proxies. Who are the proxies? The parents. Right, that's why Shlomo HaMelech says, Shema beni musar avicha va'al titosh Torat imecha. Your parents are the ones. I mean, nowadays we have also, see, we didn't used to have schools, you know that. School concept, which was invented by Jews, goes back to, who was it? Rabbi, one of the, I don't remember his name, right? Ben Gamla, maybe Rabbi Shua ben Gamla, if I'm not mistaken. Rabbi Shua ben Gamla. It used to be that all education, everything was done at home. Fathers, mothers, they would tell Torah to their kids. Mother, more the midot, the characteristics, and the father, the Torah. But then there was a generation, there were pogroms, etc., and there were a lot of orphans. And I think it's Rabbi Yeshua ben Gamla. When he saw that there is not going to be Jewish continuity, there is going to be Torah, he invented the concept of schools. So now, parents, what do? They try their best at home, and then they trust the school where they send their kids. They pay good tuition, right, for the schools to shoulder that responsibility. But basically, since Hashem, they are the parents are the praxis. So the praxis could also pick praxis through the school. So Shema beni musar avicha va'al titosh Torah timecha. It's very interesting, right, that here, the musar avicha, musar is attributed to the father. Musar, how did we translate musar?
Advice.
Huh?
Advice.
No, musar is not advice. Musar is it's a discipline, basically. Yes. Musar is a discipline. The discipline is attributed to the father, and the actual teaching, Torah here, the actual teaching is the mother. The pasuk says, "Shema beni musar avicha va'al titosh Torah timecha," and that's really the way it is, because you see, the father, he is the authority usually. He is, and in some homes it's reversed. But in some homes, definitely it's reversed. And it has to be like that. It has to be like that. You cannot have two giving musar. You cannot have two discipline. Well, it has to be stick and carrot. It has to be. So it could really, the father could play the role of the carrot and mother the stick. Depends on the personality. The Zohar HaKadosh says that to have Shalom Bayit, you need to have one soul that is male and one soul that is female. If you have two male or two female, it's a disaster. But the Zohar says sometimes it could be that the father is a softer. The father has so to speak, the female soul, and the mother has the masculine. It's okay. They could have beautiful Shalom Bayit. But when you have two of the same, it's not good. Because it's stick and carrot. So usually it's the father. You see, jokingly they say, now it's Adar. They say, Mishenichnas Adar marbim besimcha. When the month of Adar comes in, we marbim besimcha. There is joy, and the joy becomes more and more. Mishenichnas Av mema'atim besimcha. When the month of Av enters, so simcha goes down. So in Israel they say Mishenichnas Av. When the father comes in, mema'atim besimcha. There is no joy. Right? This was the thing. So this is what Shlomo HaMelech is saying, because you really need the good cup, the bad cup, stick and carrot. It cannot, because that's the way we need to educate.
But that still works. Sorry to interrupt. That still goes hand in hand with both parents being unanimous in their voice, like we learned by Ben Sorum.
That definitely. Definitely, that's, you see, they are not two opposing teams. They are one team, but the one team, there's a good cup and there's a bad cup. It's all coordinated, but it's what you bring up, it's essential.
That could get tricky, because you say like you tell your child, if you're the good cup, you're taking the child's side, you're saying, your dad doesn't allow.
No, not at all. I'm happy that you brought it up. It's the worst thing is when the kids manipulate the parents against each other. There has to be, you see, I don't want to allow, I should. See, I said, Ben Sororo More, the Gemara says, this kid that would get capital punishment, the little kid. It was just bar mitzvah. never happened, right? But why? Because for the kid to be blamed, the parents have had to be 100% proper parenting, that they are one voice, they are united front. But whenever, if the parents are not in the same team, right, so then it's not the kid's fault. If the kids don't turn out good, right, it's really the responsibility of the parents. If they did try their best, right, and there was, I always tell couples, whatever disagreements you have, it's in the bedroom, right? You do your, you do negotiations, but when you come to the kids, you are a united front. And also, your mommy said, that's it. Your Abba said, that's it. And the parents have to stick up for each other's respect, not give me respect. No. The father you have to have respect to your mommy. Mommy said this, that's it. If you disagree with mommy, that you have to do your homework, behind the curtains. When it comes to the kids, and you could say, there's nothing wrong. Say, look, I maybe would have thought differently, but mommy said this, and we came to conclusion. This is our position. This is our united front. That's essential. But within the same team, you could have a good cop and a bad cop, right? So the father, Shlomo Melech says, the musar comes from the father. Shema beni musar avicha. Usually that's the case. But you see, the Mefarshim explain that the real chinuch, the real education happens through the mother, not through the father. It says, right, musar avicha, it's very interesting, right? Because you see, the mother usually is ba'qurbanut b'sham, tasadaqat beram, it's love. In Chobaman Jun, Chobaba Ras Mige, Badin Karikat, right? Mother does it with love. Father just, sets the rules. And you see, there is another blessing that women talk a lot. We tend to, people think when the Gemara says, Asara kabin shel sicha yardu la'olam, like if 10, measurements, of words came to the world, 9 of them got the ladies. So in yeshiva circles, Tisha Kabin. You see ladies, you come home, you see your wife is talking on the phone, you say, Tisha Kabin. But it's when it's brought in the Talmud, it's brought as a blessing. Because the context is, the Gemara says, Asara Kabin shel yofi yardu la'olam, 10 measurements of beauty came to the world. Yerushalayim, Jerusalem got 9. This is definitely, it's in a positive sense, right? That Yerushalayim has 9 out of 10 of beauties of the world is in Yerushalayim. The same Gemara says, Asara kabin, 10 kabin shel words came to the world, and 9 of them got the ladies. But this is not in a negative, it's connotation, because you see, it's a big blessing. Because you see, communication is with words, and it's right, the mother that's why, from childhood, constantly talk to the kids, and that's why they are much more effective in education also. That's why it says, right? Gaon says, "Musar avicha Torah shebichtav." Hakelalim, the rules. Torat imecha is Torah shebaal peh. You see, Torah Shebaal Peh, on every pasuk of Torah Shebichtav, you have volumes of Torah Shebaal Peh, of Mishnah and Zohar and Gemara and Midrashim, on and on and on. Right? This is the mother. The mother using a lot of words to communicate with the kids. The father is Yekam Palu with the Gush, right? It's very just few words, rules, that's it. So this is, so Gaon says, Musar Avicha Torah Shebichtav, the rules, and then Torah Timecha, Torah Shebaal Peh, right? So, also the Mefarshim say, Shema beni Musar Avicha, it's talking about mitzvot aseh. Also it says the structure of the words. Shema beni Musar Avicha, it's mitzvot aseh. Shema beni, listen. Al titosh Torah Timecha, it's lo ta'aseh. We have positive commandments and negative commandments. Shema beni Musar Avicha, mitzvot aseh, positive commandments, al titosh Torah Timecha, mitzvot lo ta'aseh. And Harav Sforno says, because the parents right? They play such a fundamental role, right? You see that, in our life. That's why the Torah is so careful when it comes to getting married. That's why the Torah specifies, how to look a spouse, right? Look for a spouse. We see, Eliezer comes and he says, a lady that has not only Yirat Shamayim, it's a kind lady, giving lady, etc., etc. The Torah goes into details because it's really everything. It's the wife that you marry, that couple, they are the ones that really create us. They are like partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with Hashem, in creating us. That's why Rav Sforno says, right, Hikpida Torah al yichus v'nisuin b'kudusha v'tahara. And also, that's the reason why that there are so many laws, etc., when it comes to the intimate relationship. Right, that that it has to be that there is one husband, there is one man, one woman in life, one Hashem. Right, that a person, even at the time of intimacy, it's so that they are just thinking about each other. No, that's why you remember once Rabbi Ben David told us he spoke in Mexico City. They wanted to kick him out of the city. He said, I told them, ladies, do you know that when you are with your husbands, you are not the only woman? There are other ladies. I said, what are you talking about, Kvod Harav? So, don't you guys, before you go to sleep, you get intimate? Don't you sit there with the remote control, watch TV? What is your husband looking at? Right? So he was telling, and there's truth. It's so definitely there's men, especially Freud is right. This goes. It's very strong. Right, so he was saying, and you see that exclusivity, it's everything. I just had, a couple was talking to me that, the girl, once, after they get married, they're about, they're getting married soon, to continue to have guy friends. So he was telling me, and he told her, no, and they're not religious. So he was saying, I told her, no, I'm against it. He said, oh, you're the male Persian, male chauvinist, etc. What's wrong with it? What's wrong? I don't do anything. We don't do anything. We just talk. And he asked me, what do you think? I said, absolutely no. Absolutely no. What's guy friends? What does it mean? You see, a lot of ladies, they're very naive. They think, man, just, it's like you have a girlfriend that you chat with, etc. You have a guy friend. It doesn't work like that. Right? We know much better. Anyway, so that's so important. That's why it's that you see, it's very interesting in Kodesh HaKodeshim, Holy of Holies. Nobody was allowed to enter there. Only Kohen Gadol would go there once a year, right? Kodesh HaKodeshim, it's that intimate relationship with husband and wife, the two kruvim, and it's exclusive. Nobody else is allowed to be there. Right? And a lot of times, I tell couples, they say, no, we don't want to lock the door. No, it's not true. A husband and wife, they have to have privacy. That's the Kodesh HaKodeshim. And the kids have to learn the rules. When the door is closed, you don't just open and come in. That intimacy is everything. Right? That intimacy is everything in, and Rav Sforno says that intimacy is going to bring those pure, right, souls that they're going to be susceptible to all this, that the parents would be able to mechanech them, to educate them. That, he says, if you don't have that intimacy, you're not going to have those results. Right? So, once I was at Eden, I don't know if I told you the story, I was, there was somebody that, I don't know, online was, listening, going to my classes. He had passed on. And all of a sudden his family called me and said, look, you don't know him, this and that, but he, on his deathbed, he asked that you should come and officiate at his funeral. And it was a Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, when I have my class. So, but it's mitzvah lishma dvar. I said, fine. I canceled my class. I went to Eden. I get there, I said, Vavela. I see they're playing music, and this and that. And then somebody came to me and said, Rabbi, before you start, we have the cantor from temple, this and that. A lady cantor, she had come with her gun and everything. She's going to sing some songs, etc., etc. I said, with all due respect, you see, I don't need to be here. Maybe she was a rabbi, the cantor also. Maybe she could officiate also. I cannot, a lady is singing here, I cannot officiate, with all due respect. So I said, no, whatever you say. So I don't know what they told her. So then afterwards, after, I spoke there and we were about to go up, so a gentleman came to me and said, Rabbi, you Orthodox rabbis are so this and that. How could you? What's wrong? What's wrong with the lady, coming cantor and singing, etc.? I said, sir, it's all about intimacy. He said, what do you mean? I said, look, I only could hear my wife singing. I cannot hear another lady singing. And for a few minutes, I spoke with him. He told me after, he says, Rabbi, I never heard that. I respect that. I understand it. You see, it was very confrontational. When I told him it's all about intimacy, and that's in Torah, I would not, in the same way I would not touch another lady, right? I'm not allowed to hear the singing, because that touching and this is that intimacy between husband and wife. It's much, that he could buy, right? So Shema beni musar avicha va'al titosh torat imecha. And then it says, and this thing, right, this ending, al titosh torat imecha, the Gemara tells a very interesting story. The Gemara in Masachet Psachim, Nun Aleph, it says, Bnei Beishan, right? So, Lo hayu nos'im be'erev Shabbat. The Gemara says there was a certain city in Beit Sha'an. It's in northern Israel, near Tveria. It's a beautiful city. A lot of Persians there. I once even davened there in a Persian shul in Beit Sha'an. So anyway, they had a minhag. On Fridays, they would not travel. They would not travel on Fridays. They won't take any risks. They could get stuck we had a flight last night. I was supposed to be here in LA 6 o'clock. We ended up arriving 1 o'clock. We were on the plane for 13 hours. Stuck there because of snow, you never know, right? So anyway, in this city, they had a minhag. On Fridays, they would not travel. So the new generation, the children of these people, came to Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan was the Rav Marad Arad Israel. They came to him and they told him, Avotenu haya efshar lahem. So look, this is a chumrah, whatever. What is this? Our parents, they could do this, but now it's technology, this, that, we can't, we have to travel Fridays, right? They told him, Avotenu haya efshar lahem. Aval anu en yecholim. We cannot. We want to change the minhag. We want to be able to travel on Fridays. Amar lahem, right? He told them, you can't do it. Why? Because of this pasuk. He opens Mishlei and he tells them, what is Shema beni musar avicha va'al titosh torat imecha. You cannot change, right? You cannot change the minhagim of your parents. This is the Torah that you learned from the Torah that you got from your parents. You cannot change the minhag. You have to keep your minhagim. And it's very relevant to us, right? We have, what the Gemara says, from this pasuk in Mishlei, it's so important not to change minhagim. It doesn't mean, not to intermarry with Ashkenazim. No problems, right? It goes always according to the minhag of the father. If the father is a Sephardi, so she has to convert to become a Sephardiya, right? To follow Sephardi minhagim. But it's so important, we cannot change minhagim.
Minhagim is culture,
customs, traditions, etc. Right? You see, that's one of the reasons really that when I got married, I also used the silver coin, because this is what our minhag. We have to follow our minhagim, right? Not to change minhagim. right? You see some people come here, they become like, become Chabad, this. You can't do that. You could. I always tell people, you want to go to you like the teachings, beautiful, but you cannot change them in Hag. We have roots, we have minhagim, and we need to keep the minhagim. And the halacha is that whenever there's Ashkenazi, Sephardi, or different communities, Baruch Hashem, it's one of the signs of coming of Mashiach that we have the tribes intermarrying. Jews with Jews, right? Sephardi, Ashkenazi, this, that, beautiful. But go according to the minhag of the right. Being Jewish is from the mother, but the minhagim, etc., it's according to the father, right? And that's why I think I told you my favorite story. Didn't I tell you that? I think so. It's Sefer Mishlem, Meshalim. A mashal is the best tool to teach something. I'm sure I told you the story with Churchill, right? When Churchill came to Israel, and was it in 1930s, I think. So the city of Tel Aviv had just been built. It was a new city, Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is called the name of Herzl. Herzl had written a book, Altneuland. So they translated into Hebrew to Tel Aviv. So it was a young city, and there were no trees there, nothing, right? So the mayor of the city, Churchill is coming to visit there, right? So the city didn't have any, he went and he bought from Petach Tikva. Petach Tikva is Ema Moshavot. Petach Tikva is much older than Tel Aviv. He went there and he bought 100 something palm trees, old palm trees, and they brought, they transported them from Petach Tikva to Tel Aviv. And one of these boulevards in Tel Aviv that was treeless, they came and they planted all these palm trees alongside this boulevard. Beautiful. Churchill came, and this young Tel Avivi Jewish boys, they wanted to get a good glimpse of Winston Churchill. So they started climbing on these trees that were just planted the day before or a couple of days before. And what happened? All these palm trees were falling right and left. All of them. Baruch Hashem, nobody was injured or seriously, etc. Then it was Churchill's turn to speak. And he said, Churchill was very, very smart and very good speaker. So Churchill said, it was a very amusing thing what happened here, but I think there is a message for your nation, right? That you're coming after thousands of years, you're coming back to your homeland, to Israel, right? He said, don't forget don't forget your roots. Because if you don't have roots, you see what happened. You can't just take a tree and plant it here, right? The tree needs to have roots. If you don't have roots, like these palm trees, they're going to fall right and left, right? And I think it goes, we have here Sfaradim, Persians. When I was, I had a discussion with Rabbi Abadi. Rabbi Abadi he told the teachers that, the Sfaradim don't differentiate between Kamatz and Patach. And they pronounce it the same thing. I told them, no, we do. We Persian, if we come to a Persian shul, Mitzrayim, they're going to shoot the Baal Koreh if he makes a mistake. We have Kamatz and Patach is not the same thing. So we are going to teach it our way. It has to be. The roots are very important. That's when he says, right, Shema beni musar avicha va'al titosh Torah imecha. Rabbi Yochanan said, from here you learn that it's asur to change our traditions, right? Yes?
So the minhag is the end part of this pasuk, right?
It's both. It's combined. The musar, it's just the father and mother teach the same thing.
No, but the part about not to change our minhag.
Al titosh Torah imecha.
Okay, so
right.
Why is it that when it's Sephardi Ashkenaz Mary goes to the father?
No, that's from the Torah, because which tribe, you see, being Jewish is from the mother. If the mother is not Jewish, the kids are not Jewish. But now, which tribe they always had, between the tribes they would marry. That the Torah says, the mishpachotam lebet abotam. Lemishpechotam, the Torah says lebet avotam. So when it comes to yichus, is the father.
Yeah, but nowadays we believe everybody is Yehuda and Benjamin, right?
Yes, not true. Fine. It's every community has Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Temanim. I was in Lakewood for Parashat Zachor, so they read the parasha 3 times in a Sfaradi shul. In a Sfaradi shul, one's like our way, the Yerushalmi, Syrians the same thing. Then they had the Moroccan, and then the Temani. Everybody has, and it's beautiful. What?
That probably took forever.
No, it's just 2 minutes. It was. I loved it. It was very nice. Very nice. Anyway, Rabotai, okay. Baruchim Tihiu, refreshments. So we have, B'ezrat Hashem, we are going to have still, I might be traveling, but I'm here, B'ezrat Hashem. Monday, I'm here, B'ezrat Hashem.
So what's the significance of